Hey, Olive, Arlo, and Frank. Wow. A raspy voice, Grandpa, coming to you from the living room in Jacksonville Beach. I'm trying to restore my voice. I just finished doing the last chapter of The Little Prince, and I'm using hot tea to get my voice back because I want to do a couple chapters of, of Matthew. So let's get started. We just finished chapters 5, 6, and 7, which are the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus went up a hill and he taught what the new law was. So we're going to see now, well, what's the everyday application of that new law? He told people, this is what you want to do. You want to forgive people. You want to pray to God for, that he'll give you your basic needs, and that ultimately that his kingdom will prevail here on earth just like it is in heaven, and many other things that he taught in that Sermon on the Mount. It started off with the Beatitudes. Blessed are the meek, blessed are the poor in spirit. So he was the modern day Moses going up his mountain and getting the law and bringing it down. But Jesus is greater than Moses. He's the law and the prophets. So now he's going to be like a prophet. He's going to go out into the countryside and he's going to do things. We're going to take a look at some miracles that he did. The first one is the cleansing of the leper. And a leper is somebody with a rare skin disease. Olive, your dad probably knows the name of that skin disease, or what they think is the skin disease that they're referencing here. But it was a horrible disease that kind of ate away at your skin. And so in the Old Testament, I believe in the book of Leviticus, it tells what you have to do when you have it. And then if the disease appears to go away, then you have to go to the priest. You have to present yourself to the priest. You have to give an offering. And the priest, I believe, can quarantine you or must quarantine you. There's all kinds of rules that are set up. But Jesus, he's going to come in and blow the doors off of everything because he can just heal people. There's a lot of people going around saying, yeah, I have a healing ministry. I just lay my hands on people and they get healed. There's something called Reiki, Rekei, where people have this healing ministry. There's, these people that stick needles in you to heal you. There's people that press in pressure points and in your body to heal you. And they'll say, oh, well, if you have a headache, you press down here on the top of your big toe or something. I'm making that up. But that you find this one pressure point here, and that will take away the pain in your head. They're not talking any nonsense like that. They're talking, what this is talking about is healing people. So this is pretty miraculous, and it's why they call these miracles. So let's get started. Chapter 8 says, after he came down from the mountain, large crowds followed him, and a leper approached and bowed low before him, saying, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. That was something in the Old Testament that they had to declare to people that they had this disease. They had to say, unclean, unclean, which meant don't get near me because I touch you or breathe on you, you may get this too. And a lot of what the Old Testament is based on, the law was based on, was being clean and unclean. So there were clean animals and unclean animals. There were, and that goes as far back as the book of Genesis, when Noah gets on the ark. He takes clean and unclean animals. You can always sacrifice clean animals to God. Even before this law was produced for the children of Israel, that was true. So he took 7 clean animals and only 2, one male and one female, of the unclean animals. So you couldn't sacrifice a pig to God. You could sacrifice a pig to a Roman god, and that's something that they did to defile the temple in, I believe it was 70 A.D. They sacrificed a pig on the altar just to like horrify the Jewish people. So, and then you were unclean if you touched roadkill. You were unclean, and there were things you had to do to make sure that you became clean. So this reference here of saying you can make me clean, it's much more than saying you can heal me, because he wants to be healed, but he also wants to be able to fellowship with his other human beings. The most horrible thing about a disease like leprosy is that, we used to put people in leper colonies. It would be on an island. The island of Molokai in Hawaii was once a leper colony. You can go there and see this. There was a guy named Father Damien. I believe he died of leprosy eventually. He caught it. But they would put these people, isolate them, even as far as putting them on a separate island, and nobody else could go there. So you were just around a whole bunch of people that were dying. You didn't get to fellowship with anybody who was vibrant, who was alive, who had their whole life ahead of them. You were just around people who were dying. I don't want to get into it, but I know how that feels, because I was in cancer wards at Thomas Jefferson Hospital in 2006 and 2007 with people who had very little chance of living. And I was one of the fortunate ones. And so when this guy says, you can make me clean, he's saying, you can not just restore my health, you can restore me into fellowship with my fellow man. He stretched out his hand and touched him, saying, I am willing, be clean. Immediately, his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus said to him, see that you do not speak to anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and bring the offering that Moses commanded as a testimony to them. And he's not saying, give it to them like you're, a testimony like you're worshiping, that you're just, here, this is what I owe you. The sacrifices to God. But everything that he's supposed to do, presenting himself there and following their instructions, that's as a testament to them. So he can go there and they'll go, oh crap, we've never seen somebody show up whose leprosy left them. But he's not allowed to tell anybody. So now we're going to look at him heal the centurion's servant. A centurion was a Roman general over, I believe, 100 people sent. C-E-N-T. When he entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him asking for help. Lord, my servant is lying at home paralyzed in terrible anguish. Jesus said to him, I will come and heal him. But the centurion replied, Lord, I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Instead, just say the word, and my servant will be healed. For I too am a man under authority, with soldiers under me. So he's saying to Jesus, I'm like you in a certain way. I'm under authority. Jesus was under authority of God the Father, even though he is God. He's under the authority. He came under the authority of God. He's healing people under the authority of God. the centurion is under the authority of Caesar, and they both have people under them, soldiers. Centurion has Roman soldiers. Jesus has the disciples. I can say to this one, go, and he goes. And to another, come, and he comes. And to my slave, do this, and he does it. When Jesus heard this, he was amazed and said to those who followed him, I tell you the truth, I have not found such faith in anyone in Israel. I tell you, many will come from the east and west to share the banquet with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we just got done studying them in the book of Genesis and who they are. With Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be thrown out into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then Jesus said to the centurion, go, just as you believed, it will be done for you. And the servant was healed at that hour. So we see Jesus heal in two different ways. One, somebody comes up to him directly, and Jesus, just by touching him, broke the law, which he didn't really break because Jesus is the law. See, Jesus wasn't going to catch that disease. The law is there to protect you, not just to make you follow laws blindly. It's there to protect you. It's there to protect everyone. Jesus didn't need protection from that disease, so he touched him because that was the way he wanted to demonstrate, like, this is the kind of authority that I'm under. I'm going to touch you. I'm sure the guy was like, whoa, this guy's touching me. And then he's healed. But this guy here, we don't even get to meet the person. His boss comes and says, this is my servant. It's not one of his soldiers, not one of his top, colonels or captains or anything like that. This is like a slave. But he means a lot to him. And he goes to Jesus. Jesus doesn't have to touch him. It's not one size fits all with Jesus. He can do it any way that he wants to do. So now he's going to go to Peter's house. Now when Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his mother-in-law lying down, sick with fever. So for most men, if they saw their mother-in-law lying there sick with fever, they'd be like, yeah. I take that back. Remember, what happens through the Bible with Grandpa stays, and through the Bible with Grandpa. Never tell grandmother what happens as we're going through the Bible. Because there are two people that she's their stepmother, or mother-in-law. So, Arlo, she's your mom's mother-in-law. And Olive, she's your dad's mother-in-law. And if I thought about it enough, Frank, yeah, nah. Yeah, she never was your mom's mother-in-law, but that's the relationship. If your mom and dad had gotten married, if your mom and father had gotten married, she would have been her mother-in-law. So it's his wife's mother. He touched her hand, and the fever left her. Then she got up and began to serve them. When it was evening, many demon-possessed people were brought to him. He drove out the spirits with a word and healed all who were sick. In this way, what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah was fulfilled. He took our weakness and carried our diseases. So here's another thing. Sometimes he just speaks the word. He spoke the word for the servant of the centurion. That guy wasn't there. But these demons are in the people, and he just goes like, hey, later demons. And they split. Now, let's see when it says he's challenging the professed followers. Now, when Jesus saw a large crowd around him, he gave orders to go to the other side of the lake. And this is Lake Tiberias, Lake Gennesaret, the Sea of Galilee. You can call it any of those three names. Then an expert in the law came to him and said, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." And Jesus said to him, "Foxes have dens, and birds in the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another of the disciples said to him, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." But Jesus said to him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their own dead." A very important thing here. He's not saying, like, abandon your family. He's saying, I'm more important than your family. You want to follow me, you need to follow me. I need to be the most important relationship. Not the only relationship, but very, very more important than any other relationship. And the guy saying, I need to bury my father is kind of saying, I need to wait around till my father dies, and after that I'll be able to come follow you. Which, yeah, Jesus ain't going to go for that. Trust me. So now he's going to go out on the lake and still a storm. As he got into the boat, his disciples followed him, and a great storm developed on the sea, so that the waves began to swamp the boat. So the waves were coming up over the gunwales, the sides of the boat, and water was in the boat, and it was starting to go. It would eventually sink. But he was asleep. so they came and woke him, saying, "Lord, save us." And trust me, you can always wake Jesus, and you can always scream, "Lord, save us." Always. He wants you to do that. He was asleep, but he wasn't ignorant of what was going on. It's not like Jesus was going to die because he slept through a storm. It's not like he was a deep sleeper. But he said to them, "Why are you cowardly, you people of little faith?" Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the seas. So it's like he, by rebuking, it means to not belittle, but just to, like he's not going, "Please stop." He's going, "Stop now." That's rebuking. And it was dead calm. And the men were amazed and said, "What sort of person is this? Even the winds and the sea obey him." And think about how amazing this must have been to follow this man around and see him touch a leper and heal him. To do this. There were, some of them were there at Peter's house. They saw it. Like she's in bed going, "Oh," and he goes over and boom. She gets up and starts going, "Okay, I'm putting the brisket on. Who's going to help me?" and starts flying around. She's setting the table and stuff like that. So now he's going to heal another demoniac, somebody with demons possessing him. When he came to the other side, to the region of the Gadarenes, and that's right there on the coast of the Sea of Galilee, 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were extremely violent, so that no one was able to pass by that way. So they hung out where they buried people in the tombs. And if you came out to pay respect to your loved ones, they'd be like, whoa, like the Tasmanian devil. Although, yeah, your parents know who the Tasmanian devil is, but I'm sure you don't. So Jesus shows up on the scene and they cried out, Son of God, leave us alone. Have you come here to torment us before the time? So they know who he is. The people following him just think he's this cool guy that's doing miracles. But this demon-possessed man, and we don't know if it's, because there's 2 of them, if it's those 2 cried out, or if it's the demons, because the demons definitely recognize him, because he's going to talk about that. Son of God, leave us alone. Have you come here to torment us before the time? A large herd of pigs was feeding some distance from them. Then the demons begged him. So now we know the demons are talking. We don't know the first time, but now we know that the demons are talking. If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs. So these are unclean animals. They're in the land of Israel. They shouldn't be raising pigs there. But in this area, around the Sea of Galilee, there were a lot of Gentiles. If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs. And he said, go. So they came out and went into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep slope into the lake and drowned in the water. The herdsmen ran off and went into town and told everything that had happened to the demon-possessed men. So what do you think is going to happen? Then the entire town came out to meet Jesus. And when they saw him, they begged him to leave their region. So there's these 2 former lunatics sitting there going like, hey, how's everybody doing? How y'all doing? As they say down here in Jacksonville. And they're like, yeah, but the pigs. You shouldn't be raising those pigs, but yeah, but the pigs, like we lost the pigs. You need to get out of here, Jesus. We can't afford to have you here healing people. That sucks. Hey, until next time, peace out.